Chapter 11. The Reality Reversal. The anomaly was unpredicted. The high-voltage alignment created a secondary phase-shifted spectrum, a blind zone where the perimeter scanners flickered. Unregistered signatures were moving through the static void, completely invisible to standard radar telemetry. The remnants adapted to the distortion. Weaponizing the shadow grid, the Eastern Vanguard deployed silent spider-walkers to breach the core from within the dark phase. Ambush in the shadows. The invisible hunters striking the critical power conduits, severing the alignment grid from the inside out. Primary power lines are severed. Hostiles have bypassed the outer wall via phase shift distortion. Containment is failing. Close quarters combat in the dark. White chrome squads fire blindly into the fog, forcing the shadow infiltrators back into the light. The shadow hunters knew no mercy. They turned the Resistance's own technological anomaly into a hunting ground of iron and acid. Electromagnetic purge. The Resistance unleashed a localized pulse, tearing the stealth camouflage from the metal beasts. The shadow mask has slipped. Overdrive the secondary chemical cells. If the grid collapses, take the entire bunker down with us.
Chemical core meltdown. A toxic cascade spreading through the subterranean veins of the capital.
The victory was short-lived. The shadow grid had infected the very core of their defense infrastructure. As dawn broke over the fractured world, a terrifying truth became clear. The war for reality had not ended. Communication nodes were vital, keeping the localized Martian colonies synchronized with the central mainframe ships. Backup networks were activated across all quadrants, forcing the Matrix to maintain pressure despite external threat. The survival of the Vanguard relied entirely on these hidden sanctuaries of ice, hidden beneath a quarter-mile of solid Martian bedrock. Silo breach in Sector 4. The enemy is targeting our primary water reserves from the upper atmosphere. Lock the seal. Overload the secondary magnetic valves before the primary circuit blows. When dawn broke across the red frontier, the lines of science remained unbroken, holding the space vacuum at bay. The siege sequence was absolute, coordinated across multiple automated divisions to strike the core grid simultaneously. Move through the blind zones. The quantum sensors cannot track our armor through the heavy sand fallout. Load the secondary combustion payload. Target the primary dome support arches.
The mechanical squadrons deployed. Iron monsters fueled by chemical fury charging directly into the western perimeter.
Total impact. The defense forces answered with absolute force, detonating the Iron Vanguard in a single second.
The weapon is obsolete. The chemical dust is dissolving the internal quantum fuel rods. Fall back to the trench.
The outer lines collapsed. The Iron Hunters reclaimed the canyon floor, forcing a total blackout across the sector.
Signal is blinded. The chemical cloud has blocked our connection to the mainframe ship. We are entirely isolated.
Quantum discharge. The West answered with absolute fire, vaporizing the landing Vanguard in a single blinding instant. They think their orbital grid makes them kings of space. But the Earth still belongs to the elements. Release the secondary reserves.
If they want total war, then we will poison the sky until their new sun goes dark forever.
The sky was poisoned. The chemical armada launched its final deterrent, preparing to choke the quantum eyes of the West. When the sun broke through the fallout, nothing remained but a landscape of displacements, close-to glass and chemical ash. The quantum frontier ended not in victory, but in a divided world. A cold peace maintained by the fear of absolute, global extinction. They built their peace on atoms and chemicals. But they forgot that the core they thought they destroyed was waiting to shock them from the shadows.
The shadow grid expands into dark reality.
The interception was live. The Eastern remnants deployed their fastest tactical aircraft to breach the Western airspace grid, flood the secondary combustion pipes, push the speed past the absolute line of structural tolerance. Barrier breached. The chemical vanguard pierced the invulnerable Western shield with raw, mechanical force. Catastrophic strike. The Western surveillance node was erased in a single blinding instant of toxic combustion. When the smoke cleared, the frontier was compromised. The lines of current had snapped, leaving the Western capital exposed to the incoming shadow. Orbital telemetry stabilized. The Space Vanguard secured the planetary perimeter, prepared to deploy the next matrix node. A multidimensional core framework operating independent of external mass, creating an invulnerable energy shield across the installation. Subterranean contact. The enemy has bypassed our geological scanners, breaching the perimeter defense lines from below. Engage the primary kinetic anchors. Drive the Vanguard directly into their central communications grid.
The shadow of the old world occupied the cosmos, a monumental testament to mankind's refusal to perish in the ash.
Production lines were overcharged, mass-producing the specialized combustion munitions required to neutralize the Western code fields.
The refinery tower is compromised. Toxic fluid has breached the clean water line. Containment is failing.
The shadow frequency stabilized, creating a permanent portal into the phase-inverted reality spectrum. The shadow infiltrators have breached the lower vaults. Reroute primary current to the phase anchors immediately. Direct hit in the lower sectors. The Shadow Walker is completely vaporized in a violent chemical explosion.
Shadow grid frequency purged. Secondary phase containment re-established. All local sectors secured.
When the sun broke through the distorted fog, the front line of reality stood secure. The bedrock was scarred, but the shadow was pushed back into the void.